everyone. My name is Coach Isa from Revasis Training and Development Center, and last Monday, we put a poll in the group and asked you guys kung ano yung gusto ninyong pag-usapan natin for Wednesday live. And we got 25 votes, I think, for secrets, tips, and tricks on how you can ace your interview with your clients, diba? So, I'm gonna be sharing with you my personal tricks, diba? Kung ano yung mga ginagawa ko during my interview with my client. And of course, we posted a video of this, like my personal experience kung ano talagang ginagawa ko during the interview. Yung video na yon na nasa YouTube channel ng Revasis, it is really a live interview with the client, and up until now, yung client na yon is, we're still working with them. Diba? So, ano ba yung mga ginagawa most of the time, or the things that you need to prepare when you are going to face your client for an interview, and how can you make sure na by the end of the interview you will be able to get reviews or feedback from your client, diba? Gusto natin malaman yung feedback from our clients as to bakit hindi nila tayo tatanggapin, meron ba tayong nagawa, nasabi, or hindi nila nagustuhan during our interview, or baka mamaya meron tayong mga hindi na prepare, diba, hindi na ayos during interview. Okay, so yun yung mga i-discuss natin today. And if you have, of course, interview questions, baka some of you already tried applying na, diba? And you have questions na ang hirap sagutin, you don't know how to answer, and you want to ask it, you can type it in the comment section, of course, so we can discuss it later kung paano ko kayo ma-help out na sagutin yung mga questions na yun na nahihirapan kayo. Okay, but first, I would also like for you to share this video kasi baka meron kayong mga kakilala on your friends, diba? Family members, diba, relatives na nag-i-aim pala na maging virtual assistant, and they might need this topic as well. They might be struggling in, client interview too, like you. So, if you could share this live video, of course, you can always tag us, tag me. So, there you go. So, first off, ano bang mga dapat natin i-ready for our client interview? So, of course, ang unang-unang na dapat natin i-ready is our equipments. So, ito, sinabi ko na din to sa mga students ko in the past na I had an experience wherein my clients, I don't have any experience yet, diba? Pero my clients hired me because I'm very much prepared. Parang binawi ko sa equipments ko, like I'm using a laptop, diba? I'm not using a phone. I'm using a headset with a microphone. I made sure that my background hindi siya ganito, like it looks messy, diba? So, what I did was I find a good spot wherein I have a good or a perfect lighting. Tapos my background is ganyan. So, this one is a good example of, a background na hindi siya cluttered. So, yun yung sinasabi, diba? Hindi siya mukhang madumi sa mata ni client when you are applying. Siyempre, ayaw naman natin na madadistract si client, especially kapag nag-i-interview sa atin. Okay, so, I tried also interviewing several virtual assistants in the past, and yung mga mali na nakikita ko is, number one, nandoon sila sa room. So, meron pang instance in the past na parang nakita namin yung nagulat kami kasi nakita namin si husband na naghuhubad, nagtatanggal ng, nagta-topless, diba? So, syempre, sa part ng client, sa part ng interviewer, it's a turn off. Okay? May part na ang gulo-gulo ng house, diba? So, if you're gonna be joining in Zoom, there is this feature wherein you can change your background. So, you can prepare any background, office background. You can get stock images online that you can put on your Zoom background, diba? Marami na ring YouTube videos on how you can use Zoom background para hindi mukhang cluttered yung inyong background. So, ayun yung mga dapat yung i-prepare. If you can also find a room that is quiet, diba? So, kailangan nagte-test run kayo. Try to record yourself and then look at yourself, diba? Sa Zoom, kahit free, pwede kang mag-record. So, you have to be there 30 minutes at least, diba? 15 minutes at least before your scheduled interview. I remember, nakailang points din ako niyan sa mga clients na, hey, you know what? I'm super happy that you came 15-30 minutes early because I have an appointment. I was about to reschedule you, but you came in early, so let's do this, diba? So, yung mga ganon. So, kapag may mga good points plus factors, those are the things that clients are looking for when they are hiring virtual assistants, diba? They want someone who's punctual. If you are gonna arrive early on your interview, it will somehow give them impression that you are punctual when it comes to your work ethics, diba? So, yun yung mga gusto natin na i-leave eh. So, they don't really know you. Your resume will give them somehow an idea, a background of who you are, but hindi pa rin yun magiging sapat, diba? Not unless you are gonna give them something that they can look forward to during the interview talaga. So somehow, during your interview, your first meeting with them, you're giving them a heads up of your work ethics already. Like, are you punctual? How are you when it comes to answering questions, diba? How are you when it comes to your work equipments? Ready ka ba? So when you say during the interview na, yeah, my availability is I can work anytime, I can start anytime soon, pero naka-phone ka, you don't have a headset, tapos ang ina-applyan mo cold caller. So it will give them, of course, an impression that you are not yet ready to start very soon because you don't have the proper equipments that is needed for the job that you are applying for. Diba? Nakukuha nyo ba yun? Nagigets nyo ba yun? So, number one that you need to prepare is your equipments. Again, you should have a laptop or a desktop, a camera. As much as possible, it should be high definition. You should find a cluttered room or at least have a Zoom background wherein it's not gonna distract your clients when you are having an interview with them. Find a room that is quiet enough and you won't be able to distract the clients when you're talking to them, and it's gonna help you as well because you're not gonna be distracted when the clients are asking questions about you. Okay? Did I miss anything? Oh, the most important thing, okay, because ito most of the time dito ako nagbumabagsak in the past was when I do an interview, I make sure I am using Ethernet. So, what is Ethernet? Ito po yung nakakonekta kayo sa inyong mga modem. So, kailangan hindi ka naka-Wi-Fi during your interview. Kung malakas na malakas at confident ka sa inyong internet connection, go. Kung naka 200 Mbps, 100 Mbps, walang kasabay na nag-i-internet at that time, na nag-i-interview ka kay client, go. Pero kung meron, at you are not 100% ready, again, you have to remember, you only have one chance to impress the client. Okay? So, kung putol-putol ang internet mo during your interview with the client, na agad yon. Diba? Highly. So, ligwak agad kay client yon. Because, as a virtual assistant, of course, internet is very important in our line of work. Okay, so, kung ipapakita natin kay client na hindi ganun ka-okay ang internet connection ko, client, diba? So, syempre, medyo ano na yun. Medyo, hindi na okay na impression kay client yun. Okay? Okay ba? Goods ba tayo? So, ano ulit yun? Ano yung una ninyong dapat ihanda kapag meron kayong mga client interview? Tingnan nga natin. We have 11 viewers. Again, good evening to you guys. Okay. So, my name is Coach Isa from Revasis Training and Development Center. And tonight, if you are just watching this, we are discussing the things that you need to prepare if you are going to have an interview with your virtual assistant client. Okay. It doesn't really matter which industry you are targeting. Okay. As long as you are going to have a client interview. This is gonna be helpful for you guys. So, once you prepared your equipments already, the second thing that you need to prepare is yourself. Okay? Ikaw naman. Ayan, nandyan si Desi, ang ating summa cum laude. There you go. Hi, Desi, babe. Okay, so, you have to prepare yourself. Kailangan preparado ka. Alam mo ba yung ginagawa mo? Alam mo ba kung bakit kang nandoon? Do you know your goals? Okay, because if you know your goals, you will know the message that you want to tell your clients, and you will also know the actions that they should be taking. Okay, after their interview with you. So that powerful. Those things are gonna be powerful enough to hire you, diba? Especially if you know the objectives of your client call. Diba? So, bakit ka ba nandoon? Right? Why are you there? What is the purpose or the sole objective of your call with your client? So, it's an interview for sure. You are applying for the job. Your objective is to get the job, to be hired on the spot, diba? Yun yung gusto natin. And that's the message that we want to send to the client. So, you have to be 100% ready during your interview. Ano pa yung mga kailangan mo i-prepare? If you are not a good speaker, most of you are super afraid to talk in public, in private. You are all a silent reader. Diba? So, if you can prepare a script, prepare a script. I'm not a spontaneous kind of person, and I do prepare a script when I was starting. Huwag kayong mahiya. That's okay. Okay, prepare your script. Lagay nyo doon kung ano yung mga most frequently asked questions. Ang dami-dami na sa internet, ang dami sa TikTok, ang dami sa YouTube na nagsisend out ng kanilang mga questions, diba? And even answers. So, you can take note of that. Write it down on your note. If you don't have a computer, you don't have internet, write it down on your notebook. Diba? Aralin nyo siya. Walang masama sa script. As long as when you are there, you are presenting it like you are not reading it. Okay? Hindi naman siya like isusulat ninyo yun na yun. Hindi nyo na siya babasahin. So again, if you can practice it, diba? Para you know what you are gonna look like when you are talking to your client, saying that script. You know kung saan ka magpo-pause, kung saan ka hihinga, diba? Kung ano yung i-highlight mo sa sentence na yon. You will never know that if you're not gonna practice, if you're not gonna read the script that you did. Diba? So, again, walang masama sa script. I'm not a spontaneous kind of person. If people like you here are spontaneous enough, then good for you. But I'm not. I'm not a freestyler. I'm a very scripted person. Pero wala akong script today. These are all based on my experience. So, nung nagsisimula talaga ako, wala talaga ako masabi kay la client, and super hirap. Super hirap na nauutal ka. Diba? In front of the client. And I know sa sarili ko, pag nauutal na ako, menos points na yon. So, what I did was I write my script. Ano ba yung mga usual na tinatanong sa'yo? Diba? Tell something about yourself. Dito na tayo magsisimula sa mga tricks, tips, ano bang ginagawa ni Coach Isa pag nag-a-apply siya. So, ang unang-una, most of the time, they will be asking you, "Hi, how are you?" Diba? So, papakilala sila. And they will ask me, "Tell me something about yourself." Lagay nyo nga yan sa comments. Tell me something about yourself. Diba? Yan yung laging tinatanong. Ano bang i-share ko sa sarili ko? So, of course, you have to share a little bit of your personal life, not everything. And of course, your work experience that is related to the position you are applying for. Halimbawa, ang ina-applyan ko ay cold caller. Coach, wala naman akong call center experience. Paano yun? Pero casino dealer ako dati. Okay, so ganito siya. Sasabihin mo, "Okay, thank you so much for that. My name is Alyssa Marie A. Barte. I am 26 years old. I am presently residing here in Quezon City, Philippines. If you have not been in here in our country, it's in Metro Manila. So, I am in the city." Bigyan mo sila ng heads up na nasa city ka, wala ka sa probinsya, hindi masyadong madalas ang power interruption at internet interruption sa area mo. So, I have been working from home since 2018. I started out as an ESL teacher wherein I am teaching kids on several countries like Korea, Japan, ano pa nga ba yun? Saan pa nga ba ako nagturo? Vietnam, how to speak in English. Okay? And then, I don't have any experience as a real estate cold caller yet. But, I worked as a casino dealer as well. And I strongly believe that the customer service traits or work ethics that I got from that work experience will greatly benefit your customer here in real estate. Diba? So, yung mga ganun, hanap kayo ng mga connection ng mga previous work experience ninyo doon sa current position that you are applying for. Meron at meron yan. Minsan, akala lang natin wala, pero meron. Okay, so, ganun, hanapin ninyo. You don't have to let them know like the whole background of your work experience from, halimbawa masyado na kayong matagal na nag-work since 1999, ganyan. Diba? So, you don't have to. You just have to let them know your work experience, diba, na related dun sa position na ina-applyan mo today. Okay? So, ang trick ko dyan every single time is I am making sure na hindi ko na pinagsasalita si client. Not really in a way na hindi na sila magsasalita, but malilesen yung questions nila. So, pag sinabi nila sa akin, "Tell me something about yourself," dinidiretso ko na siya sa work experience ko. Letting them know what I did in the past, diba? Para hindi na sila masyadong magtatanong. And when I let them know about my experience, so for example, experience na ako, diba? So, I started out my career as a real estate VA last 2019 as a cold caller. And what I did was calling people, personally the market or the farm of my agent at that time. I call them for 8 hours, Mondays to Fridays, and I am just getting their information if they are really interested in selling their property. So that time I am also using ZenCall, but right now, it's called ready mode. So, yung mga ganon, binibigyan mo na sila agad, oops, okay, ito yung applications, CRMs, softwares, diba? Yun yung pwede ninyong gawin. Nakadiretso ka na. Ang tanong pa lang sa'yo is, tell me something about yourself, pero ini-explain mo na what's your work experience, anong mga CRMs and softwares yung alam mo. It lessens the time na palipat-lipat sa inyo ni client yung question and answer because you're already providing them the answers that they are looking for. And I swear to you, diba? Ilang beses na yan yung alam mo yung parang iiwanan mo na nakanganga na lang si client. Diba? So, yan yung pinaka-secret ko. Give it all. Again, you only have one chance. Pag sinasabi nila, masyado kasing pabibo pag ganun, okay lang magpabibo ka. Isang beses mo lang sila kausap. Diba? So, magpabibo ka. That's okay. Ayan, si Des meron siyang question. What's your edge from other applicants? Medyo napapaisip talaga ako nito. Oh my gosh, napapaisip ka. You are summa cum laude. Ano bang edge mo? Other applicants, they might not, diba? They might not be prepared when it comes to equipments. I am very much prepared with the equipments that I have. Diba? Sabi mo nga no, naalala mo nung nag-mock interview tayo, sabi mo, I prepared for this. Ginastusan ko siya. And your experience working or sa internship with Revassist wherein you really call people, not only property owners, but real estate professionals is already your edge. Okay, so, my edge among all other applicants is that as you can see, I'm very much prepared with the equipments that I need to start working immediately with your company. I do have my computer, I have a headset, a microphone, a camera, I have a strong internet connection. Ganun, diba? And during my internship with Revassist Training and Development Center, I was able to really call property owners, generate leads, diba? And ask them questions such as validating their property information if they are really selling their property. I was able to validate their name, their phone number. I was able to handle objections of property owners. And I was even able to call real estate professionals if they are hiring virtual assistants like me. Ganun. So, yan. You can put in the comments what are your questions you think na hindi ka masyadong confident to answer, and I will try to answer it for today's video. Again, balik tayo doon. So, tell me something about yourself pa lang, but you were able to answer 3 questions na, diba? So, most of the time, they will ask several other questions to you, then that's okay. But as long as you can provide the answers kahit hindi pa nila tinatanong sa'yo, it's a good thing. It is really a good thing. Pwede mo din sabihin familiarity with market report and MLS. Of course, yes, you can. So I was able to use MLS in the past and I'm very much familiar, diba, with creating market report, printing out or acquiring MLS sheet for you guys. I can create comparables for you. Mga ganon. So, Donnie, you can say that. You can even say that you know how to video edit. I can do video editing. I can do everything you need. Char. Yung mga ganon, diba? So, just let them know what are the things that you can do that is very much related to the niche or to the industry na ina-applyan mo. So, kung halimbawa cold calling yung ina-applyan mo, then focus on all the skills that a cold caller needs to have. But, diba, so halimbawa cold calling, tapos meron ka pang other skills. So, I can do a lot of things. I can call, I can generate leads, I can objection handle, diba? I'm very much confident when it comes to calling. I can even negotiate offers, yung mga ganon. But aside from that, these are also the things that I can do to help out your real estate business. Paano pag di niya sinabi, need niya video editor? How do you input that and increase your rate? Oh, that's a good question. Now, if they are really not in need of that at the moment, you won't be able to increase your rate yet. But again, kaya yung sinabi ko kanina, you can say that. But aside from that, aside from the cold calling skills that I have, I also have these skills that you might need in the future to increase your sales and your real estate business. Ganun. So, pwede mong sabihin yun. Kasi, most of the time talaga, if they are looking for cold caller lang. Not unless, most of the time, pag cold caller lang yung hanap, hindi pa ganun kalago yung business. So, maybe that's the reason why they are not in need of video editor yet, diba? Or, most of the time, hindi sila talaga humaharap sa camera. So, mahiyain. But, of course, if you are already talking to them one-on-one, yun kasing kagandahan sa virtual assistant, you are gonna be able to talk to your clients one-on-one. So, you can suggest to them business proposals that you think can help their business grow and thrive. And if they see results, of course, they're gonna like it. At hindi madamot ang mga clients. They really do provide increase if they see increase in revenue as well. So, yun yung maganda pag naka-direct client ka. If ASCC pa coach, tapos nag-ask ng portfolio, what we can give aside from the recorded calls? You can provide the script. You can show them the script. Diba? So, you can say that I have several scripts that I can use. If you don't have a script yet, I do have my very own script that I can use to call your leads. You can do that. You can have your personal recording without the client yet. Diba? So, yung recording mo lang sa sarili mo while you are talking. So, that's another thing that you can put on your portfolio. And of course, ang pinaka-importante is yung call recording mo with the client. Na, oops, talagang tumatawag siya ng, halimbawa, residential leads. Tumatawag talaga siya ng commercial leads. Tumatawag talaga siya ng real estate professional. So, that's another thing that you can also put on your portfolio. Ito na yung pinaka-last tip that I will say. So, the last tip is you have to ask for the feedback. Right there and then ask them. Most of the time, interviewers are gonna ask you, do you have any questions for me? And VAs will just say, no, right now I don't have any. But ask questions. Okay? And yung pinaka-question na madalas kong tinatanong, and I am always asking my students, diba, to tell your interviewers is the question, what is it that I said or that I did during this interview that you didn't like or might not get me the position that I am applying for right now? Anong ginawa ko na hindi ninyo nagustuhan? Or is there something that I did or say during the interview that might not give me the position that I am currently applying for right now? So, dun pa lang, humihingi ka na ng feedback sa kanila. Okay? Dun pa lang, alam mo na kung ligwak ka or hindi. And at least, diba, you ask them a question. They told you, ask question. So, ask question. Right there and then, you want to know the feedback. Yes, saan ako nagkulang, diba? You want to know the feedback of the interview. It's intimidating for some of you because hindi nyo nga siya ginagawa, but practice it and it will come out naturally to you. First time ko nabasa yung mga ASCC and others. Iba yung cold call. ASCC is shortened term for appointment setters and cold callers. Kaya siya ASCC. So, appointment setters and cold callers. Isa siya sa mga course na itinuturo natin dito kay Revasis. Kunwari, you are in the BPO industry, this is something that you can translate into the real estate virtual assistant world, which is appointment setting and cold calling. Magko-calls ka din for 8 hours. You're gonna be talking to US clients, basically asking them information and literally knowing if they are interested to sell their property. So, that is what an appointment setter and a cold caller is doing. Kapag appointment setter ka, you are gonna be setting up appointment with your client and with the sellers to meet and discuss the property even more. Okay? So that's my last tip for today's video. Meron pa ba kayong questions? I will give time up until 8:15 and I have to prepare for my second meeting. I hope you learned something from this video. Again, the tips that I shared with you guys tonight are magbalik lang tayo. So, the very first thing that you have to prepare is your equipments, such as your computer. As much as possible, you have to be using your computer, your headset, okay, with microphone. If you can prepare a camera, okay, high definition as much as possible. Cluttered space, diba? Ayaw natin ng cluttered space. So, we want something na if you can change your background into a decent one. And of course, we don't want background noises during interviews. So, you have to prepare those as well. So, once you have that, then you have to prepare yourself. Okay, if you can create a script of the questions that are mostly asked during the interview, then do so. Practice it, record yourself saying the script para you know when to stop, ano yung mga kailangan mong i-highlight sa script na yon, and you know how you sound or kung paano yung tunog mo during the time that you are reading the script. Because we want it to be delivered na para kang hindi nagbabasa. Okay? And then, the next step is when they ask you, tell me something about yourself. Tell them a little information about your personal life. You don't really have to let them know everything about you, like the size of your feet and all of that stuff, diba? But tell them a little bit something about yourself and your work experience. Kapag nagsasalita kayo about your work experience, it should be related to the current position that you are applying for at that moment. And then, of course, the last tip is you have to ask them questions, okay, by the end of your interview. Curious ako about this. Can you give us more example of doing comparable coach or how to do it? Like, what is the effective portals or mostly used by many? This is a good topic, comparables, but it's super different from the topic that we have right now. But basically, if you are going to have comparables or show comparables to your client, pinaka-basic is they're using Zillow. Tatlo, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trulia. Or if you have any other website, then that's good. So, if you're going to look for comparables, it should be within 1 mile radius or less. 0.5 miles is good. And then you have to find same square footage was sold for the last 3 months to 6 months. And then you have to check yung mga square footage is the same, number of beds, number of baths. Tignan niyo yung picture. Kasi baka mamaya yung pinagko-compare ninyo ay bago yung sayo, and then yung pinagko-compare mo ay hindi na siya, alam mo yun, hindi na siya renovated. So, of course, the price is gonna be different as well. So, you can give them at least 3 information about it, and then yun yung pwede ninyong comparables. Usually, sa Zillow, meron na silang nilalabas na comparables. Pwede nyo yun tignan. Diba? But most of the time, yun yung madalas na ginagawa. Pinaka-basic yun. But other than that, in PropStream, you will be able to, of course, generate a different list in PropStream. Mas medyo in-depth na kasi pag mga paid websites or CRMs. But yeah, that's the pinaka-basic. Let's have, a separate discussion about comparables. I'd love to share knowledge about it. Diba? So, baka most of you would like to know about comparables as well. Let's put it in the poll. Maybe one of the Mondays very soon. Para we can discuss that too. Alright, so if you don't have any questions, I hope that you learned something from this video. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and of course on TikTok. And if you haven't subscribed in our YouTube channel yet, please do so. We have several videos that's gonna be helpful for you guys there. We also have Spotify. So, sa mga pinanghihinaan na mag-VA, you can also check there our inspirational, motivational stories from freelancers na already. And of course, they are gonna be sharing some tips and tricks with you guys as well. And of course, our Batch 5 Bootcamp Training Program is still open. You can go ahead and check it out and then enroll now. Of course, hindi kami magpapabaya sa inyo. We have 20 days of live training with me. And this time, you are gonna be experiencing a lot of things. Email management, calendar management, mga bagong courses na nilabas ni Revasis for only 1,999. So, make sure na mag-enroll kayo. And of course, the last one is see you on April 29, wherein I'm gonna be having my very first webinar. 200 people signed up for that webinar. So I hope that you can really join on our Zoom meeting. This is gonna be helpful if you really want to know the real estate process behind the back, how your clients are working on the field. Then please do join that masterclass with me, April 29, 2022. Thank you so much everyone for joining me in this video. Have a great week. Bye!